Few topics gain such a broad agreement for a single opinion. Work-life balance is good. Striving for a balanced life is desirable, and if we can just do a little bit more of that, then we'll all be a lot happier. And that desire for balance, that makes sense. Time for everything and everything done on time. That thought alone makes us feel more calm and relaxed. And we notice that this is exactly what life is meant to be, but it's not. This is the Jimbaran Fish Market, and they sell, you guessed it, fish. Just fish. But it doesn't end there. If you go into the neighborhood, into the nearby streets, all you see is fish restaurants. You go to souvenir shops and it's all about fish. If you go onto YouTube and search for Jimbaran, all you find is search results for fish. And you can go and buy your fish and then go to the beach to one of the restaurants and ask for a barbecue service. And for a small fee, they will cook or barbecue your fish. You go onto TripAdvisor and the first few topics are all around fish. And that is exactly the attraction why people come here. Not because they want fish in their lives and nothing else, but because they've heard about the excellence with which it's done here. You feel the atmosphere, breathe it in, and you become one with the fish. Okay, maybe this one was a bit too much. Now, all of this doesn't sound like a very balanced neighborhood, does it? Imagine you want Jimbaran to be about fish, but also to have the best beach, have waterfalls, be a hip party neighborhood, and you know what? Also be a fashion stronghold. Now it becomes very unlikely that you will ever hear about Jimbaran. It is exactly this imbalance, the pure focus on one thing, that makes the neighborhood special. The lie is that we need to strive for balance, but that doesn't create any extraordinary results. It just creates mediocrity. So what do we do instead? Are we now throwing every inch of ourselves into the one thing and ignore everything else? If you ever tried yourself at yoga or simply standing on one leg, you will have realized that there is no such thing as perfect balance. What looks like balance to the outside world is actually a series of tiny adjustments in your body, a constant fight to counteract any force that brings you out of balance. The truth is, you need to strive for balancing. At least if you want to have any significant result in your life. Because then you can start the process of making those small adjustments, those minute changes to bring the other areas of your life back into balance. And it isn't something that we ever fully achieve. It remains a process that you can get better at. And the better you get at it, the more you can justify to then bring one of your areas of life back out of balance to achieve those extraordinary results. Not too long ago in history of mankind, you were either a hunter or a gatherer. That is what it took to survive. And because we started to realize that the more we focus on one particular thing, where we have an advantage in this area, we started to specialize. So you developed from being a gatherer to being a farmer. Either way, work was life. It wasn't about any balance between the two. The work ensured you could eat and therefore live. It's only a very recent phenomenon that we have so much free time that we concern ourselves with balancing that part with what we consider productive activities. And in our carefully created world where we are shaped and formed by society around us, we start to believe that one thing is more productive than another. And so we balance work and life to get a better result. That is a lie. The original definition of productive had to do with farming again. To produce or able to produce large amounts of goods, crops, or other commodities. But today we added another definition. To achieve a significant amount or result. That sounds good. But it's totally subjective. What is a significant result in a career? You will have a different answer to that than I. And so we assume that by depriving ourselves of what we consider life in favor of work, or the other way around, we come to live a balanced life. In reality, what we need to do is identify what is significant to us. Pick our thing, and then go back to truth number one and start balancing all else around it. If children is your significant result, then the other areas of life will have to adjust to that. And if you're a bit of a workaholic because you derive pleasure from those achievements, then making sacrifices in other areas comes easy to you and you don't have to feel bad about it. I spent a considerable amount of time in a corporate job and I loved it. I actually prioritized that over almost everything else. And I didn't live what you would call a balanced life, but I was happy. My life today looks totally different. I moved from rainy London to sunny Bali. I traded my corporate desk to a front seat in an airplane, first in an Airbus 320, and later on to a sunbed and a laptop on Jimbaran Beach. And you would say that today I live a far more balanced life. Actually, a balanced life like I have never done that before. And it did nothing for my happiness. Because work-life balance doesn't make you happy. It helps you to deal better with conflicting priorities. It helps you to deal with life in a more healthy way. Absolutely. But happiness or fulfillment, that comes from those little things that are out of balance. The things that you spend more time on than on anything else in your life. Because you want to. I never really liked the term work-life balance. It didn't make sense to me because I didn't want to separate work from life. But the more I concerned myself with the topic and learned a little bit about the benefits and the pitfalls, the more I learned that it can be beneficial. I also came to see that there are a lot of things that we start to blindly believe. So I'm not asking you to believe anything I say here. What I do suggest though is for you to see for yourself. What is an area that you spend more time on than on anything else, and is that a bad thing? If you were to stop worrying about work-life balance and focus more on how to counterbalance some of the things that are out of balance, how would that look like for your life? And finally, what area makes you most fulfilled, and how can you start balancing all the other areas of your life around that? That's what I got for you today. As always, when you get value out of this video, give it a thumbs up, a like, because it really helps the channel and it helps others to find this video. Can't wait to see you in the next one.